Hey everybody, it's Brent in Central Arkansas. Time for a no-weed garden update. It's been a couple weeks and a lot of stuff's going on since the last time. One is you'll notice that some of the pots are missing some of my yellow squash. Well, actually all the pots are missing some of my yellow squash. So when you come out and you see this, you can pretty much guarantee that that's the squash vine borer. This is my bucket number 1 of the yellow squash. That's a seed squash I'm saving on it, and I just hope to heck that that seed squash is mature enough. The yellow squash finished. It was done. They all started dying out for whatever reason. Either it was the heat or it was the squash vine borer. The squash vine borer got a bunch of them. The good thing is I've started replanting, and I've got another crop on the way. Now some of the plastic I'm sure is getting pretty hot during the middle of the day, so I planted some cantaloupes and I'm going to let them sprawl over the black plastic just like that squash back there is doing. Out here I'm letting the tomatoes do their thing. There's one, got a bunch of flowers on it. We've got a Cherokee purple here right beside. It's got some flowers on it. And the fruit, you can kind of tell because it's kind of a darker shade of green compared to Succeed. And you'll look at my Succeed here, and it has got unbelievable amount of flowers, and it's seems to be doing a little better in the heat. This side over here is the gangbuster side. I mean, it's going pretty amazingly well. In fact, it's quite overgrown. It's hard to find a place to step on the other end down there. But we'll start down here on the end. I've got an acorn left in here, this particular bucket, and that one, that's cantaloupes that are replanted, I believe. And I gotta get my finger right in the picture, and it's another, I think it was a yellow squash I replanted. But this is an acorn that I like. It's a breeding, it's an F1 breeding, and I'm gonna cross it with a sugar pumpkin. And so that's what's going on there. Eggplants are making. They seem a little stressed. The leaf seems to be pretty blotchy on all of them, but I am getting eggplants in these. So on this side also, peppers are loving it pretty amazingly. You've seen this one in the last update, and I've got some now that are starting to turn red. But just looking through there, I bet there's over 100 dang peppers on that. Is that common for a cayenne to produce that much? There are just so many peppers on that. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. Now, flaming flare pepper, beautifully big plant, nice gorgeous stalk, lots of foliage, some of it's eaten on a little bit. Okay. Cantaloupes and watermelons. This whole thing is amazing, and look at them. They look so beautiful, nice and healthy, big. I'm gonna take you around and show you some of the fruit on some of these. Okay, here's a melon, and right next to it's another melon. There's a melon in there, another melon. Coming across over to the top here, you can see one there and one there. I've got 2 different kinds of melons in here, and they're starting to poke out a little bit. And here's one on the end here, and one there. Anyway, cantaloupes are a little harder to find. 1, because they have more foliage, and 2, they're not as far as long, but I'll see if I can find a couple for you. Kind of go on the outskirts of this. Don't want to trample the vines. You got one here, and oh, there's one. That's a nice one. Come along nicely. Just see if I can get one. Yeah, there's some babies over there. A couple that are getting started. Oh man, I'm sure there's more out of reach right all through this. And anyway, as they get bigger, it'll be a little easier to see. Now these dang cantaloupes, they're overgrowing things. They're taking over my cage here, this pepper plant, and that's okay. I'm gonna let them do their thing. I don't want to fight them or cut them back or anything. Looking healthy and nice, so why mess with it? The last thing I'll show you here is a one-way valve. You can see it there. It just lets water go in this way and feed the whole, both pieces of plastic in No Weed Garden. I got a vertical, or one going along the greenhouse this way and one going along this way, and those two valves control those that square piece of plastic and all the pots in it. But the one-way valve, the purpose of that is so that I can feed it from house water. I'll show you here. This is a valve I stuck on. I removed the simple elbow here and I put this in here. I already had this piece here when I made the heated greenhouse area last year. I have a bunch of these actually. But what'll happen here is you feed it through this hose adapter. It comes down, and the valve you can turn on. It'll hit here and split both ways and go throughout the entire system. And that valve over there that I just showed you, that'll keep it from going back up into a 55-gallon drum. That's pretty much wrapping it up. Got some seed going. The tomatoes are starting to produce again despite the heat. I don't know how successful they're going to be. I replanted the different pots with some more squash, the yellow line 1 and line 2. I planted line 1 and line 3. I planted some line 2 in the greenhouse, and I'll tell you about that on the greenhouse update. And the melons and cantaloupes, they're the focus right now. They're just going crazy and I love it. And that's pretty much it.